All right, speedsters, let's do it. We've got plenty of guys to speak about and a quick bit on strategy here for your quick buy, hold, risk it, sell. And guys, obviously with the dogs having a bye next week, just make sure you've got close to either this week, and then you can use a couple more trades next week to make sure you've got a good 17 on the park. So getting rid of your deadwood, the guys that aren't playing, we might have Piakura back next week. Could be the week after though, so not sure on that one. But any of your dogs that may seem like sells to you, we'll go across them. But just make sure you check that out heading into next week. If you've got anywhere between 3 and 5 dogs in your side, just have a look at that and potentially move on from them heading into next week. First one on the list, guys, we've got all the who's hot, who's not. We'll get through that shortly, but guys like Kale, Iro, and Crichton seem like really good purchases this week. And Iro with the negative break even, there's still a potential chance that he does miss this side over the next few weeks with a couple of their forwards coming back. So that's the risk on it. But if he keeps his spot in the side, he's got 200k to make, and he should hit about a 40 average and do really well, priced at 23. Angus Crichton, if he can get anywhere near 80 minutes, I think he's going to be at least a 50-point scorer. That's 2 games in a row now, 59 and 61. So if you take 10 off that, it's still 16 points of value there. And considering his price at 34, he can get to a 50 there pretty comfortably, in my opinion. So they're the 2 buys of the week at a minimum. And if you're looking at other guys, Xavier Wilson's a very interesting guy. He's been, guys have been buying him this week. He got a 56 in 43 minutes with a try last week, 6 tackle breaks at that, and 180 run meters. So he worked hard, and I think he keeps his spot in this side, even with Haas coming back. I still think good minutes for him in that one. Priced at 366 with the dual position. He's definitely someone I think it's the last week to jump on. He'll be up near 400k with a 30 odd coming in after this week. So grab Willison now, or you can leave him from there. Chancellor Klukstad, guys, he has gone 65 and 69 over the first 2 games with incredible run meters. 304 is his average across those 2 games. I expect it to be closer to the 200, 220 mark, considering he hit 190 a game last year. He has no tries yet and has 2 try assists, 2 line breaks. So a little bit of attack in there, but he can definitely be sort of a 50-point scorer, I think longer term, but that's 5 points of value. No origin, completely up to you if you want to grab him. He is highly bought in this week as well. Chevy Stewart, I have a few worries about Chev, but I do think that it's his spot to lose from here. And yes, against the Broncos and Sharkies, Manly the next few weeks is probably a bit of a stressor, but those big run meters at 205, he should be able to get tackle breaks and offloads, potentially some type of try or try assist in that as well over the next bunch of weeks. But he could also be around a 20 to 30 point scorer and not make you too much money either. So yeah, there's that. SJ at 855. If you don't want to go for Nico Hines or wait for Cleary, then I think SJ is the best purchase there. Given he's got Dragons and Titans over the next few weeks, there could be some attacking stats to go along with his base and the goal kicking. So SJ is a terrific guy to look at this week. Price is 61, but he scored over that last year, and he's getting up to where he was priced at the start of the season now of 872 after going down to 785 a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, we've missed a few big scores, but if you like him more than Nico, then go for it. James Schiller, people are still buying him. He scored 5 tries in the 3 games that he's played. I think that will dry up now against these tougher teams, so he's not a buy in my opinion. Sean Bloor, there's a chance that he gets 65 minutes with Joe Chan there on the bench, but there's also a high chance he comes out and really dominates and hits about a 50 average going forward. It's his spot now for the entirety of the year unless he starts to have shockers, which we don't think will happen. Bellamy's been really happy with his efforts, so I think he's a good buy this week at 564. A little bit mid-rangey, which is nice because you can get him as a potential keeper that could go up to about a 50 average in my opinion, and you get him at 564. So a guy, if you've got Crichton already, then Bloor is the next guy in the edge that you can grab that plays round 14, 16, 17 there. If you've got round 13 covered, then he's going to be a sweet one to have. Kai Pearce-Paul, so if you're comparing between him and Bloor, I think it's probably a 50-50 hit out there because they are really good to pair with, considering Kai Pearce-Paul has a buy in round 12 and 16. So 12 was before the big buys. He plays 13, 14 there and is a good complementary piece to that of Sean Bloor or Eli Katoa, these types of guys there. And he's scoring really well. Now averaging 50 for the season with one of them being in the interchange. It's about a 53, 54 without that game in his starting game. So he's about 7 points undervalued there if he continues that. But he also hasn't got a try assist or a try in any of the games that he's played this year. So he's a good one this week as well at 650. Lockie Galvin at 405. If you haven't got him yet, just get him in your team now. I know it's against Panthers and Broncos, but he's scoring sort of 30 odd to 40 in base and then getting some attack on top of that. So he's there. He's pretty much their best player. He makes the Tigers move, and I think if you waited a couple of weeks on him, he'll be closer to 500k. And when they start having a nice run, he's probably going to be a little bit too expensive for you to grab. For Corey Waddell, he's the other cheap guy here at the mid and the edge. He has a very high chance of scoring. 42 is the average that he's got in games over 60 minutes in the edge position. So if you can get anything like that for a guy that looks like he's got the position in the team sewn up, I do expect him to play close to 80 minutes, if not 80 minutes. So 70 to 80 there, with potentially like a Ethan Bullimore to maybe to take a couple of minutes, but I just don't think they need to do that. So Waddell, he has 30s in him. He's got 50s and 60s in him. Could be a bit volatile, but definitely a good guy to own for sure. If you're looking at it, Tom Chester, I guess the dual position now. I think he's going to be very consistent somewhere in the 30s, mid 30s. So probably has 7 to 8 points of value. Covers 2 positions, plays round 13, round 14. Doesn't have a ridiculously low break even in sort of the 10 to 15 mark, and could definitely do a job for you. The reason I say 10 to 15, guys, is because these break even targets that you see here on this app, they do change week to week, so it's a little bit inaccurate, but ballpark is where you're looking at there with these guys. Nicho Hynes, a little bit of a worry at how he's been playing. He's averaging 61. He's in free fall at the moment. If he keeps scoring 50s, then he'll keep losing money. But we have seen 2 high to mid 70s there with the 77 and 76. And the way the pattern's going, 50, 70 odd, 50, 70 odd, 50 odd, 70 odd coming up. He hasn't got any tries. He's only got 3 try assists. Tackle break numbers are low. Kick meters were low last week. Like, he's definitely due a good game. And maybe against the Cowboys, it opens up a little bit for Nicho. And I think I've got him and I'm still going to captain him this week. Dylan Brown, a really nice alternative if you want to go a lot cheaper. Does have the buy in round 9, but has he's playing round 13, 14, which is really cool, and obviously 19 as well. He's a guy that you can get through the whole entire buy period with. He's a really nice pickup at 683. He scored 3 awesome games at halfback now without Moses and averaging just under 60 there at 59.7. So a guy that you can get, probably 50 to 100k in gains out of over the next month or so. I'm expecting him to do well against the Dolphins, so he's a great option this week, in my opinion, if you don't want to go right up top, if you don't have enough money to go to the top guys in the half position. Kalen Ponga at 774. He's a great purchase each and every week. It looks like there's a chance he doesn't goal kick this week, but I still think he'll score well regardless. He got 69 last week in a game where he was pretty cooked for the most part of it. So, impressive. Wade Egan, he's on a little bit of a run of games. 61, 51, 71 is his last 3 games, and I definitely think he can continue doing that with try assists, with the tackle numbers, running the footy well. Also, if you like the Waz, if you like Egan, I won't push you away from him, but I'm not super keen on him. Similar to that with Manu, he moves back to center now. Priced at 51, it's hard for me to tell you to buy him this week. He got Melbourne and Broncos and the Warriors in 3 of the next 4 games, so if he was a fullback, he'd been all in job, but at center, it's hard to call him a good buy. McInnes priced at 52. I expect him to play 55 to 60 minutes, where he'll probably score somewhere around that mark longer term at 52, with a 0.85 to 0.9 kind of ppm going forward, with some lower games, which you saw there at 51 in 63 minutes for a lower ppm at that. He killed it at 1 ppm last week with big run meters and a couple of tackle breaks and a line break there. So he's a solid buy without being crazy good. Murray, you can sell or hold. If you were thinking about selling him anyway, just do it. Higher break even, knee issue, currently going to trade him anyway by round 13, so up to you on that one. Jamin Jolliffe, he's a guy that I think it's last week to buy him. He'll be up near sort of 620, 630 next week, and I think that's too expensive. It might be too expensive now, and he could just be a 45 average guy, but if he's a 50 average guy going forward with sort of high to mid 55 to 60 minutes, then he'll probably hit a 50 average and could do well for your side with Tino out. Api Koroisau, I think he's a hold this week, guys. He had a couple of, he's had 3 low weeks in a row, but we know he has the big scores in him, and he can get back to that. The good scores that he had were when he was playing with Galvin, so keep that in mind. Hutcho, I think, is a pretty easy sell this week or next week, up to you on that one. His money making is done, and they're not good scores anymore for what we need with the team value that we've got. We can get better scorers in our side. Tom Flegler, he's a hold or sell. Either way works for me and my thoughts on that one. Bit more of a shoulder issue than we were what we thought might be with the AC joint. It seems like it's a little bit worse. It might be a bit more shoulder related than just the AC joint. Max Plath at 528. I really don't mind him as a buy at all, guys. He went 36 in 43 minutes. He got the 53 minutes in round 2. He was out with the bye round 3, but 36 in 45, and that included the sin bin. So he might have played a few extra minutes in that one. And obviously the extra 7 points, so would have put him to 43. So I do think he's about a 45 scorer. That's 7 points of value with half and mid dual, playing in round 13, 16, and 17 there. That's pretty cool to have for sure, and definitely is on my radar. Nat Butcher there at 682. He's priced at 49 now. I think he'll be about a 52, 53 scorer in the back row if he can get the 80 minutes. Fairly safe kind of pick there if you want that, but more expensive. Beaufort Moore, a little bit more expensive than guys like Blore. But I think he's warming into the season. If you like him, if you like the Titans, you want a player from that team. He's gone 48 with some attacking stats, playing a lot of that game in center, and then 60 tackles last week in an extended game. But I think priced at 42, he can be a 50 guy long term. Jesse Arthur's at 416k. He's in a position where you can hold or sell. Dual position helps. Misses around 13, 16. Needs to score tries to do well. Dave Fafita, bit more expensive at 807, but he's in a position where, I think he's going to get into the 60s average now. He's priced at 58. He has Origin, obviously, but if you're looking to hold long term, then he's a good buy this week as well. Nathan Cleary, if you've held this long, I think you hold one more week. It looks like he'll return next week, which is good. So just hold on Nath. Brendan Piakura, hold or sell is fine. It looks like it's more of a syndesmosis injury or high ankle sprain, which is extending out to sort of 4, 5, 6 weeks potentially. So there's a chance that he's not back till like round 10, which is still 3 more weeks out. So if you want to get rid of Piakura, I completely understand. It's not the biggest issue in the world considering he'll be missing round 13 anyway, but he does have money to be made with that only game where he got 80 minutes in the actual back row and got 40. So did really well there. Danny Levi, 383. He's a hold this week or a sell. I think either way, if you need him for next week to cover the Dogs players being out, that's cool. If not, he's an easy sell for sure as well. He's done with money making. Tohu Harris and Adam Fanua-Blake, two guys that are 4K apart, and both should be able to score somewhere in the 55 to 60 range going forward. We've seen 4 scores over 60 for Tohu. Have a look at him if you want a clear option in your mids. A little bit more expensive than that of Joe Tapine at 705, so 57k more expensive. And I expect Tohu to score a little bit more than Tapine just because he gets more minutes, but Joseph looked great last week with his 68 in 67 minutes with some offloads, with some tackle breaks. But the run meters, if he can get anywhere near the 200 run meters a week going forward, he'll be a cracking 55 to 60 scorer. We know he goes on runs up and down though. Morgan Smithies, he's a good buy as well. I think he'll probably average 50. Now going forward, he's priced at 43, so a bit of value, edge and mid dual is cool, but just be aware of round 10 and round 14 buy coming up. We're laughing after I sold him, obviously. And then the last one, guys, is Trey Fuller. Not sure what price he's going to come in. He's not into the game yet, but he will come in probably sometime tonight, and we'll have a look at him from there and discuss him a little bit further. But right now, he's sitting there at with a 53 in 47 minutes, and he's won game last year, so I expect him to be at an awkward price and probably not a buy for our sides if he's anything over 400k. If it's under 400k, we'll speak about him a little bit further in in the next couple of videos if we find out before I make them, that's for sure. So that's a quick buy, hold, risk it, sell, guys. Thank you so much for being here each and every week, and I really wish you all the luck heading into round 7. I cannot wait for that first game with the Roosters up against the Storm.